Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc. I am your host, Michael Dolce. As always, joined by my co-host, Mr. Hassan, Lord of the Radio Godwin. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right today. I think, without revealing too much, I'm doing a little better than you are, sir, unfortunately. Slightly under the weather as you are.
Yeah,
Trooper.
Slightly.
Trooper.
Slightly, but hanging in there and always coming out here because it's always great.
Thank you for not making me do the show alone, because I'd have to have Sam glaring at me unapprovingly.
You would have to drive. Well, it's not like we have a lot to talk about tonight.
No, there's nothing to talk about. Really nothing has happened.
Nothing has been really going on that has been of any interest whatsoever. So
None. Well, except for that one thing.
That one movie?
You call it a movie?
Yeah.
It's kind of more like a religious event, according to most of the internet.
And with good reason. With good reason, right? I mean, I would definitely say that on a scale of like 1 to 10, it rates like an 11.
Is that your?
We're talking about Marvel's Infinity War, by the way. If anybody is,
we're gonna circle around to it, Yeah.
Well, no, we're going straight forward. So we talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture every Wednesday night.
Is that what we do?
Talkradio.nyc, streaming live on Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. This is our Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, this is our
Super Bowl. This is like
Super Bowl for nerds.
This is as big as it gets. I have never seen a reaction to a film as much as that. I also love the reaction from non-nerds. Because they're
nerds.
They're like, wow, I guess there's not. Oh, by the way, spoilers. Sorry, there's gonna be spoilers all here. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, still watch us, but we're gonna spoil it.
Yeah, it's your fault at this point. It's literally been.
I mean, it's been over a week.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually hasn't been over a week.
And if we're the ones spoiling it for you, you're in better hands, because we're gonna be a lot more gentle than most of the other internet has been.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, the reaction from non comic book fans is like, well, I guess there's no more Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, but
how could they kill Black Panther?
Who cares?
He made so much money.
Yes, exactly. It's like his monetary worth is way higher than what he got in the middle of the film. The girl sitting next to me in the theater was distraught.
She was distraught.
Yeah,
huh?
she was kind of a mess at the end. And I'm like, it's probably gonna be all right. Thanos got everybody outside of this theater. Everyone in this side of this theater, I think we're all safe. I don't think any of us are turning to dust anytime.
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I think you might have,
Yeah, some of them. Well, maybe some of them are dead. I'm all right though. I got out.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You made it?
Yeah.
There's a like a little app or something on Facebook that you can click to see if you made it out. But it always just clicks to you're dead.
Yeah. Well,
and the universe is better off for it.
I already know I'm alive, darn it.
Yeah.
Apps can't tell me anything.
Yeah.
I know me. I know I'm breathing.
So,
I know this is not a figment of my imagination. Actually, I don't know that.
This is a call-in show. I always want to remind people, if you're listening to us on iTunes, that's awesome.
I'm going to do reverse psychology. Don't call us.
iHeartRadio.
You're going to regret it.
Awesome. If you're listening to us on SoundCloud, if you're listening to us on Google Play, like awesome. We love it. We love that you're downloading the podcast. We love that you're checking it out.
Sorry, they called.
But we're streaming live right now on a Wednesday night, 877-480-4120. So we want to get your thoughts on Infinity War. So feel free to call. Feel free to chime in on the Facebook feed. Again, facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. Chime in. We'll get yours there. Okay. Couple different things. One, we'll just start with the basics. Hassan, what did you think of the movie?
I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah. But no?
What, yes or no to what? Like, is it a recommendation you're talking about? Should I recommend it for other people? Is it
lifting the curtain? We started talking a little bit about it, but you were not as gung ho as me about the film in terms of like how great it was.
Okay. At this point with Marvel movies, there's pretty much a gold standard of like it's going to be a quality film.
Yeah,
they haven't dipped too much. I think their lowest point is either Iron Man. It's between Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, and Age of Ultron. That's their kind of lowest that they've gotten.
Sure, I agree with that.
And those haven't really been low.
Right.
They just haven't matched expectations compared to the rest of whatever their cinematic universe has been about.
Okay.
So I figured it was going to be a solid movie. It was going to be a good experience.
Mm-hmm.
The main interest for me, because I've actually, and I hate to say this because this makes me sound like I've been down on the thing the whole time, and I haven't. I've actually given every one of these movies a good review. Go back and listen. I've never been an Avengers guy. I was always an X-Men guy.
Sure.
Which is why I despise the X-Men movies, because I don't think they're good X-Men movies, as a comic reader. However, I know I had cursory knowledge of Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet, whatever, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So my main interest was, okay, you're gonna have you have 17 movies, you got 10 years, you're gonna build up to this one big movie that they seemed like it was so far away.
Sure.
So for such a long time, like one
I
day they're
agree.
gonna get to it. They're
I
gonna get
agree,
to
yeah.
it. So the entire time of building up to this, I'm like, how is this movie even gonna work? How is the movie gonna be possible? Because it's an enormous movie, and every time you try to do something at this level of enormity, it turns out to be a disaster. It's
Right.
never really that good, you know. And then sequels can fall short. We know of one particularly big sequel that fell short, and I refuse to mention because I've been told I mentioned the title of that movie quite a bit.
What's that?
I'm not going to mention it. Nice try.
Now I need to know what it is.
Nice try. It came out in December though.
Oh, okay.
So anyway,
that one.
yeah.
Yes, that one.
So,
yes.
so basically, I was mostly curious as to how this whole thing was going to tie together. What is this movie about? I know what the objective is. I know what the Infinity Gauntlet is. Through even if I didn't know comic books, I knew through the movies what the Infinity Stones were,
Right.
and how important they were to the mythology. So, what was this movie going to be about? And how many of these characters that we've been with for the last 10 years are going to die?
Right.
Right? That's it. When I started watching the film, and I saw that it was going to be basically a fight movie, a fisty punchy movie.
See, now here's the thing, right? You say that with disdain.
I don't have really disdain. I'm explaining.
Okay.
I saw it's going to be a fisty punchy movie.
Okay.
And it was going to be like a who's got the Horcrux kind of thing.
Yeah.
How do we keep the stones out of so and so's hand? Except it was going to be the reverse. Instead of the heroes looking for these elements that will defeat the bad guy, it was the bad guy looking for these elements so he could defeat all of herodom.
Sure.
Right? Okay, nice twist. Once I figured out exactly that was the way the story was going to be,
Yeah.
and it wasn't really that intricate, which is, I think, why so many people love this movie,
Yeah.
is because it's completely bone simple. It is not a complex movie whatsoever.
Yes.
There are no complexities to it.
No.
At all.
It's video game.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's why everyone loves it. And I was kind of like, oh, all right, well, okay, kind of cool.
But here's the thing, right? You break it down to a story aspect to it, though. It's simplistic, but at the same time, it hits the right beats that makes a good story.
If you say so.
Oh, it does, though. I mean, if you think about it, right? You
No.
have.
No, if you ask me, no. But if you think so, yes.
I do think so.
All right,
and this
then
is
that's
and
fine.
This is why.
Yeah, I know.
Because you have.
But you had asked me.
You
so
have
that's why
I
I was in the motion of telling
I
you.
would say. Okay, actually,
I
wait.
was
I take it.
explaining
I
what
take
the-
it this way. Actually,
But that's how
let me
we were
reverse
doing
it a second. Let me
But
reverse
now-
it a second.
Now
If
we're,
you
now we're talking
think,
about you now.
if you look at this video, if you look at this movie,
Yeah.
we have to have him have alcohol before the show because he's too feisty when he does it.
I'm taking advantage of you being a little slower today
Yeah, it's
because
okay.
you're under the
But
weather.
ironically enough, I'm actually more focused now.
I know. I don't like it. I don't like it. I expected way more of a
Yeah.
lag time, but it's not working out.
First of all, this is a Thanos movie,
Yes.
right?
Apparently.
This is a Thanos movie. This
Yes,
is a
it
movie
is.
about Thanos.
Yeah,
I mean,
apparently
so much
yes.
to the point where at the very end, to me, there's closure. Because,
him, yes.
Because he succeeds. Like, he
Yes.
succeeds in what he was like striving to do. He's
Yes.
the hero of this film.
Yes.
Or sorry,
Very much
he's
like-
the protagonist.
Very much like Palpatine and Vader looking at the Death Star
Right.
being built.
Right. But pulled off way better. Essentially,
Mm, only to you.
yes, and pretty much all the masses.
No,
But anyway, if you follow it all the way through, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in terms of the acts, it's like what stands in his way. He's got to overcome the obstacle, and then
Mm-hmm.
just when all hope is lost, and again, I'm doing it in reverse here because Thanos is. I'm doing it from Thanos' point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Just when all hope is lost, he comes through and finds a way to succeed in his mission. He gets an obstacle midway through where Gamora, he has to sacrifice the one thing that he does love to achieve his goal, and it is something that has value and has weight to it. From a story point of view, it actually follows it, assuming you just look at it that it's his story all the way through and not the heroes. If you look at it from the hero standpoint, agreed, it's not. It's actually a part one, and it's it does its job very well.
Yeah. How's that different from anything I just said, though? I don't understand what's your point?
Well, I think you were kind of down on this a little bit.
No. I said I enjoyed it,
and you said from a story point of view, it's not good. It's not strong.
Only because you said it was a great story, and I'm like, no, I can explain to you how it's not a great story.
If you look at it from a Thanos film, as a Thanos film, not as a Marvel.
No, but
Avengers
see, I think in the
film.
beginning I did say it was Thanos' film.
Yeah,
it wasn't. You
didn't actually use those words, but yeah,
I actually did.
No.
Yeah, I did.
We don't have any video of this.
Yeah, we do. You're about to lose.
We have absolutely no. I can't because I control the video.
I know,
and I'll edit that out later.
But there'll be a later. There's always a later.
I'll edit that out later.
I'm a man who lives in later. So, but no, I mean, look.
And the simplistic of it is, this is where I'm agreeing with you. The simplisticness of the story itself was the only way they could pull this off and have it work.
I don't think it needed to be any more complicated than it was.
No.
But basically, as we bring it around to the point I was trying to make before you interrupted me to tell me how great, how wrong I am, and how great you thought it was.
Yeah.
Once I realized it was a fisty punchy movie, I was kind of past it because my main interest was how is this story going to be?
Okay.
How are they going to wrap this up? And
I preemptively disagreed with you.
Yeah, I know. You're
is
wrong, but I mean that's fine.
I had to get out in front of it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you had to get out in front of it with being dead wrong, but it's fine. It's okay. That's what we do.
You just literally said that I agreed with you.
You agreed, but you
so
agreed,
then you are wrong as well.
You agree, no.
Did two wrongs make a right?
No, you agree differently though. So in your degree of disagreement,
yeah,
then you're wrong.
Okay,
that's all. You're all too cheerful about it. See?
Yes.
See, that's how you're wrong. Just like I was too down about it as far as you're concerned, which is how I'm wrong. That's how it works out. That's how it worked. And so we can go home now, right? So
I think we're done.
This discussion's over.
All right, when we come back...
Are we coming back?
We're going to answer all your questions like, where was Hawkeye and Ant-Man? Why did Doctor Strange give up the Infinity Stone? And who won our fantasy death poll draft? Joined by my esteemed colleague and co-host, Lord of the Radio.
Lord of the Radio.
Lord of the Radio.
Thank you very much.
Do you have to apply? Do you have to go to college for that? Is there some sort of classes?
I could tell you how to become Lord of the Radio, but then you'd become Lord of the Radio, and I wouldn't be Lord of the Radio
this is
anymore.
Very true.
No such thing as co-lord.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc and streaming live on facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. So we were waxing poetic here, backstage here or off camera or whatever you'd like to say, about our fantasy death draft from last week, which went over very, very well. I gotta be honest. I'm gonna give myself a big pat on the back for putting that together. I want to thank all of our guys who were out there last time. Derek Becker from Comic Pros and Cons, Bevan from the Adultish Podcast, who I was able to join this past weekend as well, too. And Casey from Bad Coyote Funky. We had a tie in the winner of that result, which was Casey and Bevan, both tied with 4 out of their 5 members being offed.
Wow.
So what it proved is that we don't know what we're talking about, because I literally picked 2 characters that weren't even in the movie. So
yeah, I picked one character who wasn't in the movie at all.
Yeah. So we clearly well,
Coulson was not even a thought in that movie.
But I kind of like where your head was at with that.
Yeah, I figured they were going to throw him in for me. He might be in the next one. But by then it would be too late.
Yeah, but
a year from now we won't even remember this conversation.
I like that we kind of went on a limb here. Meanwhile, I'm like, well, Hawkeye's going to die because he's not in the posters. He's not in the posters because he's not in the movie.
Yeah.
See, so I should have just known that.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that's a big fail on my part.
That's kind of what
Ant-Man is on the poster.
That's kind of the way Luke wasn't on the Force Awakens poster, and everyone was like, "He's Kylo Ren." And I was like, no, he's just not in the movie.
He's just not in the.
He's just not there.
Yeah, he's just not there. Yeah. So
in a rare moment of advertising truth, they didn't try to sell you something that wasn't actually featured in the film.
Sam picked Stan Lee.
Yeah.
which we know he did not. Well,
He was
we
in
don't
the film,
know
though.
if he died or not, but he was definitely
No,
in there.
yeah,
He
he
was
might have
driving the
died.
bus.
He might have- yeah, he was a bus driver.
driving the bus.
Get half a point for that.
No. You don't get points for picking people that are in the movie. Actually, if you did, you still beat me.
I should have said.
He'd still beat me. He
I
got
should have said what I was going to say last
four out of
week.
his 5.
Because what I was going to say last week was everyone's going to die. I pick everyone.
But it didn't. That didn't happen
but
either.
it kind of. Yeah, you know what? Listen, another spoiler. Here's the thing that actually pissed me off, even though I enjoyed the movie.
You think Bevan rigged her?
No, yeah, she did.
Okay.
She totally did. I wasn't even going to say anything about that.
You should. It's fun.
No, I was going to be kind of cool about it, because it's only a bunch of movies, so why get upset, right? Right? Why should you get upset if someone
you are
totally
upset.
cheats,
You are
totally
upset.
cheats, and gets inside dope, and then comes in and pretends to be all innocent, and then just
telling
totally
you.
picks randomly everybody who actually died in the film. Why
she
should
picked
I
4
get
out of
upset about
5.
that?
Casey picked 4 out of 5 too.
Yeah.
He picked Black Panther. We all mocked him.
Out of luck.
We mocked him.
He picked it out of luck.
Because we're like, well,
I
there
think-
ain't no way they're going
I
to kill
think
Black Panther. Well, they killed Black Panther.
Yeah, she picked out of knowledge, though.
This is a spoilers-heavy show, by the way.
Here's the thing
So
that
if
actually
there's
bothered
anybody
me
that
about the
is-
film. I'll tell you something that actually
Okay.
annoyed
Yeah,
me
go
about the
ahead.
film. They kind of rolled over the Guardians of the Galaxy really easy.
Yeah.
And I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. I understand that it's kind of different, but they kind of in a strange way made them look very subordinate to the other characters. Like they didn't seem on par.
As they should.
Not really.
They're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, but I mean
come
they're not
on, guys.
they look more like the Guardians have pulled off saving the galaxy twice. They're not goofballs. In fact, they've saved the galaxy. They've saved more people. They are goofballs, but I mean, in spite of their goofballedness, Sam, they still managed to save the galaxy. They've done more than Tony Stark has for more people.
Sure.
Because Tony Stark actually only saved New York,
This is true.
and he saved New York from other humans. So he technically didn't.
No. He saved New York when he
He took the missile,
He took the missile all the
which
way up.
other humans fired, and he saved New York from other human beings because of the aliens
Okay,
were
all
there.
right. But he also defeated the aliens at that point.
Yeah,
So
but he
there's that.
how you're mincing though. You're
not
splitting
mincing.
hairs.
I mean,
you're splitting hairs.
if
he saved New York.
But by saving New York,
was
he
fighting.
saved the entire world.
New York was fighting.
Yeah.
It was about to be imminently destroyed
Correct.
by other human beings.
Sure.
He saved it from other humans.
Yes.
Yes.
And also
he
saved
used-
the world at the same time.
Not necessarily. You don't know
Absolutely.
if they would have lost without that. You don't know that. They were actually doing quite well. And he just brought it to an end because we were at the 2.5 hour mark. And then Whedon was like, okay, wrap this up.
Yes, you don't know, but you
wrap
could,
it up.
You could say either way.
Wrap
you don't
it up.
know. You could say either way. You don't know.
All I'm saying is you're splitting hairs on purpose, but I'm just saying the Guardians saved the galaxy 2 times. They should not have
The
been
second time, though, was their
stooges.
own fault.
Huh?
The second time was their own fault.
No, ego is nobody else's fault. Ego is ego.
Yeah, he's Chris Pratt's father. I mean,
Yeah.
in a way,
That's not his fault.
That was some family issues that he willingly jumped into.
No, ego was on that kick 32 years before.
I understand.
Before that even happened. Before any
but
of
if
those
they
characters were alive.
never reunited, then it never would have. Nothing would have gone down. Chris Pratt just willingly went along with him.
You're okay. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Okay. Because this logic is just absolutely.
I'm just saying
this is absurd.
You're
logic.
saying that
absurd
Iron Man.
logic.
You're saying that Iron Man didn't save the world because they might have won. They might have won anyway. Well, I'm saying that if
He
Chris
didn't save
Pratt
the
didn't
world. He
willingly
only
go
saved
along
New York
with ego,
City. Is what I'm saying. The
but
other,
he did save the world. He stopped Thanos at the end of Avengers. I mean, you could say whatever you want to. Him shooting the missile up there is what stopped everything. Stopped the invasion. Right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
He still only saved even if it's not New York, he still only saved a planet.
Okay, so Thanos'
save the
people.
galaxy.
Thanos' people are going to come
That
down.
wasn't the galaxy.
Thanos' people are going to come
But that
down.
wasn't the galaxy,
They're going to
is what I'm
inhabit New
saying.
York, and then they're going to be
I'm
like,
just
"Well,
saying
we're
it's not
good.
the
We're good with New York.
galaxy.
We're good with New York.
I'm just
we're
saying
not
it's not
gonna
the
go.
galaxy.
We don't want to touch
That's just a
Jersey.
planet.
We
It's just
don't
a
want to go
planet.
into Pennsylvania.
I'm just saying, even if you're right, it's still just a planet.
Well, okay, but now all of a sudden it goes from being New York to a planet.
Well, since you're going to change,
just upping the ante
You're
here.
moving the goalposts. I'll move
up
it
in
too.
the ante. I'm up in the ante.
Yeah, you're not up in the ante. You're moving the goalposts.
It's not the goalposts. I'm
It
just
is the
saying.
goalposts.
I'm just saying.
I set the
I
goalposts.
agree. In the
I
first
set up the
movie, the
goalposts.
Guardians of the Galaxy saved everyone. I agree.
Yes.
Agreed.
Twice.
In the first movie? Just once in the first movie.
They saved the galaxy twice once in both movies.
Once, right? I'm saying in the first movie they only saved it once. Is that a correct statement or incorrect statement?
Yeah, what's that got to do with anything?
That I'm just asking a question. I'm in disagreement on the second one. Yes, they did saved the galaxy in the second movie, but I'm saying
they literally said in the second movie, "We're saving the galaxy again."
By your logic,
that was actually literally a tagline in the film where they said we can up our price if we're 2-time galaxy.
I'm merely picking
savers.
apart the statement that you said that Iron Man
they saved the galaxy twice.
No. Go back to what
Iron
you said
Man
about
only
Iron
saved
Man.
New York City, and if we push it,
you're
then he only saved.
You're diminishing what Iron Man did.
He only saved the
by
Earth.
saying that missile was being fired, and that missile
he saved it from other humans.
Had that missile not fired,
True.
then they might have still won. Okay, and I'm saying that if Chris Pratt had not, willingly just gone along with, hey, that guy could be my dad, I'm going to go do that, it wouldn't have set into motion the then eventual saving of the galaxy that they had to do. So I'm just saying, I'm just comparing your.
They would have
your
eventually
reasoning.
had to save the galaxy
I'm
from
not disputing.
Ego because Ego had gone around planting seeds of himself everywhere long before the
maybe they wouldn't
Guardians
have.
came along.
Maybe they wouldn't have. We'll never know. And that's your logic for the Iron Man argument that you were just making. I'm just.
That is not the same logic.
I'm picking apart.
That is absolutely not the same logic.
If a guy didn't press a button to launch a nuke, then we wouldn't have had a missile. But he did. And Iron Man took it and said, I'm going to now save the planet, not New York City. Not just from other humans, but from this alien invasion that happened to be happening. I'm merely just picking apart what your logic
you're not.
is.
I'm just letting you talk.
I literally just did it. We have that on video.
No.
See, that we have on video, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm not disputing they saved the galaxy twice. I agree with that. But I'm just saying that you're diminishing what Iron Man accomplished.
Either way you look at it, he either just saved the city or he just saved the planet.
Yeah, he definitely saved the planet.
Fine. They saved the galaxy. Why are they subordinate to Iron Man?
I think
that was the whole point I was trying to make before you decided.
There's an aspect to it,
go for Cocoa Puffs.
I agree, but there's an aspect to it. Well, you're trying to.
Yeah, you got a fever. I understand. I'll just make room for you because you're a little,
What you're also saying though,
brain's a little cooked.
How they end up saving the galaxy in the first movie is he's a celestial. And he's able to do it. I mean, in that regard, that's the one aspect.
They actually
of this.
saved the galaxy more credibly in the second one than they did in the first, because technically, according to your logic, you don't know what Ronan was going to do after he destroyed Xandar. You don't know if he was going to destroy the rest of the galaxy.
I was actually turning your own logic against you. You realize? That?
No, but in the same.
Now all of a sudden it's my logic. And
No,
I'm like, well, wait a minute.
because Guardians 1 is the one you'll accept was actually a genuine galaxy save.
No, I can.
You just said that. We have that on tape. We do have that on tape.
I can legitimately say they saved the galaxy, but I'm merely saying what your logic of saying what Iron Man accomplished
in your corruption of my logic
was not valid.
In your corruption of my logic, we could also say that we don't know what we don't know what Ronan was going to do with it, or if he was going to be defeated by Thanos.
Sure, we don't know
easily.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
So. They actually more credibly saved the galaxy in the second one.
So you're upset that the Guardians got pooped on.
I was hoping we would be able to discuss that, but you decided to.
I just moved it over here. See?
Huh?
I just shifted.
Yeah, but you decided to be a numbskull about the whole thing. So I guess we got to deal with that now at the end of the segment.
Well, look, at the end of the day,
all I'm saying is it was kind of weird that they got jobs.
No, they're goofballs. They are goofballs. They're not necessarily the most cohesive. They're not necessarily the most heroic.
In a context, though, in a storytelling context, you want, if you want to do things like this, if you're going to have a crossover. You want to be able to exalt one character without necessarily having to diminish others. You want everybody to have all their kooky nuances.
And you felt they were diminished. I didn't.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain that. You want all their kooky nuances to be on display, but you want them to all measure up in some way, in spite of their differences or in spite of their quirks and their flaws.
Yeah.
All right. But in this context of and I get that Peter kind of kiboshed the whole thing, and I get why, and that's in character. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But it's the fact that they kind of weren't able to coordinate anything, and they ended up taking orders from Tony Stark, just kind of all right. They didn't present very well. in the film.
You don't think so? See,
Nah,
I
in my
thought
opinion.
I thought they presented exactly how the Guardians
know
of the
you
Galaxy
do.
should present it.
I'm well aware that you
I didn't
disagree
feel,
with me.
In fact, I thought. I mean, look at what we're actually talking about too, and this is the realm of like the Marvel universe versus the Marvel comic book universe. I mean, these guys shouldn't even be as big as they are. I mean, if you really, really think about it, right? I mean, this is not even the original Guardians of the Galaxy. This is not the Jim Valentino run of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
This is the Mark
I
Millar. I'm
understand,
going
and
to put together
that's
some.
usually the argument a lot of people make is that look in real world context, these guys are not as tremendous as as these other things, but
in the context of the Marvel Universe movies, yeah, they are big. I get it. That being said, they are a dysfunctional group.
yeah, but that dysfunction doesn't necessarily always work against them the way it did in this circumstance.
I mean, the only time it worked against them was when Peter decided he didn't want to.
Well, it kind of worked against them because they needed someone else to help them coordinate.
I just thought you were bummed that they all faded away at the end, with the exception of Rocket.
No, they'll be back. There's going to be a third one,
Yeah.
so I don't. That is the thing that least upset me about this film.
Really?
Yeah.
You just didn't think they represented well, huh?
I just
kinda
don't.
shocked
I
at
just
that.
don't think they
right.
Well,
when we come back, we're gonna say who did represent well. We're gonna give you. I want
discussed that
your
a little more,
Marvel Universe Infinity War MVP when we come back.
I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was the cast was really good. The
Yeah.
kids were solid.
I didn't like Flash.
So we're talking about my good, right?
This is very true.
Okay, thanks. And we date each other. Oh,
That's what gets
yes,
us the ratings,
yeah.
buddy.
This was-
F you.
yeah.
10,000
Done,
downloads.
done. Well, then next week when they shoot one of us.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc. We were talking about the Guardians getting hosed. We were talking about our fantasy death draft, where you think Bevan rigged it, even though I'm telling you she couldn't.
No,
have
I was
rigged
going to
it.
leave that out of it because it's kind of she's not here to defend herself. But
That's okay.
you like to exploit that stuff, so that's
because it's fun.
only for you.
It's fun and exciting. I like that. It makes it better. But we have on the line, we have Mr. Casey from Bad Coyote Funky, who was in here last week. He tied Bevan
Yes, he did.
for most deaths. Mr. Casey, what's up, my man?
Hey, fellas, what's cooking? I'm enjoying the discourse about the film tonight.
It's not really. It's kind of denigrated from discourse to semantics now. But yeah, so
I'm
I mean,
always up for semantics.
what do you want to talk about here?
Well, first of
Yeah,
all,
what do you
man,
want?
I ain't sharing no trophy. Like,
Oh,
Devin
you got
can
it.
throw down as hard as the most hardcore.
You want a sudden
fans,
death
but-
round? He wants sudden
Yeah,
death.
I want sudden death. I want a tiebreaker. I want a contest of champions.
Contest of Champions. We'd
Yeah,
have
we-
to figure out what we'd have to do for that.
We get to stay out of
Do
it.
you know how much
though.
work that was just putting that damn fantasy draft together?
For
you want me
him.
to come up with a
Listen,
sudden
man,
death?
you're,
Not for me.
you're
I'll
the
volunteer him
sire
to
of the
do
sire.
more work.
Give me some damn secrets. Set it up. You're
Yeah,
the pro.
Get it?
I just run a show
You're the
with
sire,
400
man. Make the
nerds.
game happen.
Yeah, but I lost, so I have no stake in this whatsoever.
That's what
at
that
this
means. You
point.
got time on your hands. You're not busy celebrating, raising
Yeah.
the roof and all that.
Yeah.
Do you realize, Hassan, we were the worst ones out of the entire bunch?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah, you were there.
No, I
like
wasn't there.
we have
Nope,
that on tape
That wasn't
too.
me. That was someone else.
I won't
That was
edit
totally
that.
someone else. That was my brother Stan.
That was your brother's stand.
Yes.
Casey, what are your thoughts on the film? Did the Guardians get hosed?
Let me tell you something. First of all, this is the greatest film I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
God.
I loved it.
Greatest film I've
Hot
ever
take.
seen.
It was great. I don't know. It was definitely great.
It's a
I can't
great
see
film. The greatest
Hassan's
film you've
face,
ever
but
seen.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was better than Citizen Kane. It was the greatest thing ever. Gotcha. Now, there are these weird superlatives that people throw at it. They over-exalt these things.
All right,
because
it's
it
the
was a
greatest movie
great
you've ever seen.
We were discussing
It's
it.
the greatest movie I've ever seen. It left me
Step it
entertained
on
from
the
beginning to
discussion.
end. It's something that only a
Wasn't a
couple of
discussion.
movies that I've
Yes, it
ever
was.
seen can really say. Like, Empire Strikes Back used to be my favorite for a long time, and that got bumped out by Mad Max Fury Road, and then this was just like, oh my god, come on.
Wait a minute, Mad Max
It's everything
defeated
I've
Empire
wanted.
Strikes
Yeah,
Back for
you lost a lot of credibility there.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it went
right.
from being like, all right, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good
You
movie.
guys don't like
but,
Fury Road?
No,
I
Fury Road's a
liked it.
fantastic film, but
liked
better
it.
than Empire Strikes Back? Ah, no. No, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be
See,
able
this
to
is-
come with you on that one.
This is
Yeah,
non-abbreviating
maybe not
Hassan.
as a cinematic masterpiece, but I mean, a movie that I could watch over and over, beginning to end.
I like
and
Charlie
go to
Wilson's
hell out.
War.
Well, see,
I
no,
wouldn't put
yeah,
that up there as
exactly.
like, the greatest
That's
movie
not,
ever made either.
But that wasn't the terms you put. This is what
I
happens
quoted
all the time.
Anchorman throughout the 2000s.
All the times people say this is the greatest thing ever, and then you question them and they say, well, because it did this, but that's you don't specify what the parameters were for the greatest, and that's why
That's
people
fair,
challenge
but,
you.
But I did also say it's the greatest movie I've ever seen. I didn't say it was the greatest movie of all time.
I don't
we
think
have that on tape?
I don't
Oh,
think
my
we'd be
God.
up in arms if
Roll
you had
back.
said the greatest movie you'd ever seen. But okay. No, you did
All right,
say it was the greatest movie. You said that Avengers was the greatest movie you ever saw.
When you say
I do
something
recall
as
that.
like exclamatory as it's the greatest movie I've ever seen, you are
Or
casting
inflammatory.
out the notion that it is the greatest movie that has ever been.
But he could be forgiven if he qualified it with
If he
I have
denounces
ever
it
seen.
right now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Or if he
all right,
hangs up.
okay.
If he hangs up right now, he could be forgiven.
Don't make me hang up. Listen, you guys are about to hit the MVP. That's the whole reason I called in, other than to argue for a bonus challenge run.
All right,
for
Casey,
my
give me your
Yeah, what's your-
MVPs.
what's
Give
your
me your
MVP?
MVPs.
My MVP, without question, has got to be the God of Thunder.
Oh,
Thor.
Mr. Thor. Oh, look at that. I'm wearing my Thor shirt.
Yeah.
Swooping in at the 11th hour, spending a
Totally
whole
11th
side
hour.
story. Oh, I don't know. Forging the greatest weapon to ever
Yeah,
exist.
a side story that wasn't
Withstanding
Canto
the heat
Bight
of a dying
style
star,
crap.
turning the tide.
Which is pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. 'Cause
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of side stories that isn't crap, and his was not. They managed to. It managed to make it interesting. It was actually even more interesting than Rocket and Yondo's side story.
Yeah.
In the
Oh,
second
absolutely.
Guardians movie.
Very much so. Yeah, I agree
So
with that.
that was
100%.
well done. It was well done. I think Thor came off perfectly. in
You know
that
who my
film.
MVP of the film is? Is actually Doctor Strange. Because
I was just going to say he was my runner-up.
I like his movie.
Hmm.
I don't love his movie. I don't love his character. I've never been a big Doctor Strange fan. I felt like he made that entire film
No, he was-
like really come together,
Yeah,
which I
very
thought
commanding.
was yeah. There was something about it where I'm like, boy, if we go to war with some interplanetary species, I want Benedict Cumberbatch, right front and center.
You
doing
totally
something.
you totally can feel his absence in the first Avengers movie because
Yeah.
he wasn't established yet.
Yeah.
It's like, things would have gone way different for
Yeah.
New York if Stephen Strange had been there.
Yeah, I absolutely. I feel like that was it. And Hassan, who's your MVP?
Gamora.
Oh, okay. I like that choice. I like that
just
choice.
because of the emotional tie.
she
that
had the
a
most
lot of-
emotional weight in the movie.
I do remember saying last week that she had a lot of emotional responsibility
Yeah.
because of who her father was and whatever. And a lot of this, even though she's not a player in the sense of Thor,
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that happened wouldn't have been
Well,
possible
yeah.
without Gamora.
Well, Brian Everham points out quite 100% accurately, had the Guardians of the Galaxy not been in the film, the heroes would have won. Because he
That's-
wouldn't have been able to kill Gamora. And because
Right.
if she's not in the film.
Yeah, and he
and
would
then
not
Chris
have gotten
Pratt,
the Soul Stone.
and then Chris Pratt wouldn't have effed
Yeah, but
everyone.
they wouldn't have been in that circumstance in the first place, in which case, probably Iron Man wouldn't have been on Titan.
Yeah.
Or, so a lot of things, once you remove them from the equation because they split up in such ways, they had such
Yeah.
impact on the story, you don't actually know what would have happened.
Yeah.
All wrong.
Of course.
Who's the MVP?
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch?
Her
Ooh.
love.
What?
How much
No way.
Not really. Nah. She didn't really do much compared to what the Scarlet Witch could have done and what she's capable of doing. She actually
Well,
wasn't.
she doesn't know she's capable of this just yet.
Doesn't matter. We know what she's capable of. So
Well, we don't know because we don't know if they look when you borrow stuff from the shared universe of Marvel
Hold on,
Comics.
you can't
don't know.
You can't disqualify something.
I'm not disqualifying it. I'm just saying we don't 100% know what are they really going to take of her comic book origins and bring it into the movies. We haven't seen it yet. We don't know yet. I mean, in the comic books, I mean, I love that. The one thing that I loved about that Bendis run on Avengers was when
well, that doesn't count though.
When he had Scarlet Witch. You're just discounting all of comic books that haven't been established yet. I'm not discounting. I'm saying
you kind of are
literally pointing out what I like. Let me tell you what I liked about.
Oh, you want me to let you talk? I get you. I'll stop.
If we rewind this, it's been him cutting me off this entire time. In fact, there was one time where I was trying to cut you off, and you're like, "Let me talk," and then I'm like, okay, great, blah, 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 blah. I let you talk. Then I made a point. You're like, well, okay, but and you literally cut me off like mid-sentence right there. You do it. You do it just as much as we do.
Yeah, but I'm good at it.
No, you're not.
Unlike you.
The one Bendis run that I liked where he actually had Scarlet Witch with Vision, and in the comics they have kids. Right, and you kind of sit there and you're like, "Oh, it's amazing. This love overcomes everything, and somehow these kids are magic." But it turns out Scarlet Witch is just bonkers crazy, and she created them out of thin air because she has this power that can do anything essentially. So
she magicked up 2 kids by stealing them from the devil's soul itself.
Right, exactly. Like, so she did all this like crazy stuff, and then you realize, and then she kind of basically goes nuts and causes all these things to happen. So yes, she has this power, which hasn't been introduced yet. So, but we don't know if how much of that they're gonna take in, which is what my point of.
All I said is she was an MVP because of what she's done versus what we know she's capable of doing, or what we would suspect she's capable of doing.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that what I said is disqualified, because she didn't really do much in the film.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's disqualified. I'm just merely saying that we don't know which version of Scarlet Witch we're getting in these films. Is it ever going to go to that level? We don't know. We just don't know where they're going to take her character. So I mean, just saying that statement,
She killed Vision.
She killed Vision, yes.
And then he brought it back.
And then he brought it back.
Right back. It was completely.
Like, whoop.
So how come he couldn't have brought Gamora back right after he got the Soul Stone? Because he can control reality. So he could have just changed reality.
But then if he goes back in time,
nope, he could change reality. He could change the nature of reality.
You had a very good point off camera before we actually got on. You were talking about Thanos.
Yeah, but it's in context of someone else. Someone else had made a comment about why Thanos' decision was genocide.
Yeah.
When he has all 6 of the Infinity Stones and can do whatever he wants.
Right.
The conceit behind his entire crusade was that there's not enough resources in the galaxy,
sure,
which is ridiculous, but there's not enough resources in the galaxy for everybody in the galaxy. So if he wipes out half the galaxy, or half the living beings in the galaxy, the rest of the other half will be able to thrive.
Yeah.
Which is kind of out of nowhere, because nowhere else in the MCU have they ever described a famine or any kind of overpopulation,
sure,
or overcrowdedness in the galaxy. I mean, the closest we came to seeing a world that was kind of in ruin was in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Was on the, I forget what the name of the planet was. But, yeah, but obviously there's a problem there.
Right.
Thanos would be useful there, but not necessarily the rest of the galaxy. So why did he make that decision? So the thought is, if he can snap his fingers and make reality whatever he wants, why can't he just double the resources of the galaxy, and he would be killing no one, and no one would be trying to stop him. Theoretically,
well, it's not in his mentality to do so.
Ah, yes.
To me, it seems like the only reason he wants to destroy half the universe because of overpopulation and lack of resources is because that's the exact downfall of what happened on Titan.
Right.
Right.
So,
yeah, but nobody.
Maybe it was a young Thanos who experienced this, and he's like, "All right, this is how the world works."
Yes, and he's obviously traumatized, which is a
right,
decent enough, perhaps, a decent enough information for us to conclude.
Yeah,
but it's not information that's given. So I mean,
you kind of see it when he goes through his origin of Titan. I mean, it lays enough of the groundwork for me that I buy it. That I buy it. I don't, I mean, after the fact, you kind of think, yeah, I guess he could have just done anything he wanted. I mean, in the comics, he's trying to woo.
The whole point was
he's trying to woo a woman. I mean, that's the
I know, which actually makes a lot more sense than the genocide thing.
Sure.
Because I'm killing everybody because like Jodie Foster will love me if I kill Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
So I mean, when it comes to that, the logic doesn't really make connections.
Casey, thank you so much for joining us. When we come back, we're going to put a bow on this one. You ever seen like the old men at the Starbucks? Like they have their little like.
I don't go to Starbucks.
Oh, I do. I work at
I'm a
Starbucks.
man.
It's fantastic, and they just have these old men club, and they just sit around and talk about the good old days.
That's why I don't go into Starbucks. It's a creepy sausage fest on caffeine.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the
Oh, there he is. There it is.
It's all over. Secrets of the Sire. I want to thank Casey Strauss.
Yes, thank you, Casey.
Bad Code of Funky for calling in, and we'll figure out some sort of.
The sudden death match.
Yeah, we'll figure something
He's got that coming. He's got that coming.
That sounded so ominous.
No, but if we
very,
dragged
very
him in
ominous
here
there.
from last week and made him play this game, and then say, "Oh, you got a tie," and we don't even let him break even, or excuse me, we don't let him cut ahead, give him an opportunity to win his money back. That's not
wait,
cool.
You took money from him?
Yeah, you didn't take any money from him.
No. And who forced him to do anything? He was really excited to be here.
I pulled a knife on him.
You have a complete different outlook.
You didn't see me pull the knife? All right, never mind that. But all right, well, sorry, Casey. You'll be all right.
You'll make it work.
Yeah.
You'll make it work. No, yeah. So we want to thank him for calling in.
Yeah.
We're gonna put a bow on this.
But what I want to
discussion.
thank him is for coming up with a sudden death match, because now you got to work harder on the game. You got to finish the game.
What are we gonna do? An Ant-Man sudden? Pick the one Ant-Man character that's gonna turn small.
We can't have he and Bevan be. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we got to do something. We can't have.
Here's the level of preprepreation, and I will
There
say
were 5 of us.
that it was because I was sick. I actually don't know if Derek Becker won or lost. I reached out to him
because we
today.
don't have the
I reached out to him today. I know we were here, and I could have just listened to the podcast, and I should have.
You could have, yeah.
But I was.
You were having a day.
Yeah, it's not good.
You were not well today.
It was not good. So, couple thoughts.
You were at urgent care today. He tells me he's at urgent care. I was like, oh my god. He's like, it doesn't sound that. It's not as bad as it sounds.
It just sounds because it's
Yeah,
like
it
urgent
sounds
care.
like urgent
it sounds
care.
very urgent. It's
Yeah.
like no, it's just the easiest way to see somebody is to go to urgent care. It's
Don't tell me you're at urgent care.
I'm not gonna try to make an appointment with my doctor to just go tell me that I'm okay. I'm just go to urgent care. It's right there. But I digress. One of the things that we didn't really get into, but I did want to talk about, is the Russo brothers themselves, how they handled this large ensemble and how they were able to kind of keep. I know you had mentioned it, and I might have taken it as a derogatory, how the pacing was done. The story was not that complicated. But I think it worked, and I think it worked because the ensemble was so much. I felt like it was so clear. I was able to follow every single storyline, and every single storyline hit a beat every single time. So I got to give my hats off to the directors, because I think they did a job that.
Here, let me.
It could be very easily. Could go wrong. It could easily go wrong.
Let me qualify. Let me clarify. It is a tremendous accomplishment, especially as a culmination of 10 years. It is proof of concept for Kevin Feige. Mm-hmm. Who I was among the many skeptics when this was first announced.
No.
Stop it. So are you.
No, I wasn't.
Jerk face. Yeah. Almost everybody I know is like, oh, come on. That's not going to... They're going to do origin movies, and then they're going to culminate it with, one big fight movie. That's never going to work. A lot of people said that. Then they showed a clip from Joss Whedon's Avengers. I remember that. And people were like, oh, it doesn't look that good, And it kind of looked a little candy-ish. And mostly people were reacting to Captain America's outfit, which I still don't know what was going on with that. Because they have not made that mistake again. They've corrected that particular mistake. And so he, came out, it looked like he was in Long Johns and stuff like that, and they were like, oh, I don't know. And then that movie came out, it exploded, it was larger than life, and it's been uphill, for them, or smooth sailing for them, whatever analogy you want to make since. So this was the other thing. Avengers was the first thing, the first proof of concept. Can this work? And then they announced, okay, the end of all this is going to be Thanos. And everybody was a little more like, yeah, I bet you they can do it because of the Avengers. But still, Thanos is the second Crucible. Like, can you do this? And so they did it, and they did a really great job. They did it really well. I would argue it's not as difficult an accomplishment as the first Avengers movie because
I don't disagree with you.
Because they were actually all together
Yeah.
in this film. And this other thing is it's just a series of smaller films.
Yeah.
And you could film that separately. Whoever wrote this, because I didn't do my research. I know they're writer-directors. So this entire movie was proven out in the design stage. The writing is what needs to be hailed. They're directing. If you can direct a movie, you could direct this movie because everything was. It wasn't one of those situations where it all culminated at the end, and then he managed to juggle 60 or 70 characters in one scene. He didn't have to do that. The battle was a big deal. Okay, and but it was only basically that cluster of heroes that we had been following on that front.
Yeah.
So we had the Guardians somewhere else. We had the Iron Man and Spider-Man hook up with them. We had Thor and the other half of the Guardians someplace else. We had the people on Earth, and when you had Thanos, and we had the villains. The way the story was.
Stephen McFeely and Christopher Marcus.
Who the writers?
Yeah, didn't know.
I had no idea who those guys are. No idea who those guys are. Yeah, but holy crap, get those guys to do everything now.
It was the right kind of, simple. It had joke. Every time there was a joke, there was something of great, terror or horror, or there was everything was always backed up. So no matter what, it never came across like there wasn't stakes. That's the problem with a lot of these Marvel movies lately, though, right? Is that they're laughing everything off. They kind of laugh everything off to the point where you're kind of like, well, if they don't think it's a big deal, then why do I think it's a big deal?
Right.
And here it's like, and you're like, okay, no, you know what? They're laughing, but it's appropriate and it's never out of place. And I think they did a great job with that.
I will say the genius of this is in the writing of Thanos himself, because he was very.
Josh Brolin kills it too.
Yeah, and absolutely, he's a fantastic actor. But he chewed a lot of scenery and had like enormous mountains of dialogue.
Yeah.
And never once did he overstate anything. Unlike Ultron, who yapped through the entire film. Right. And you were just like, okay, dude, shut him up.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
So he didn't diminish himself by talking too much.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of a lot of that goes to Brolin and in the gravity that he's able to, even though he was a guy with a big
so one of the
big
things,
chin.
One of the things,
he was a CGI guy with a big chin.
One of the things we want to ask before we run out of time today too is where do we go from here, right? Obviously, the heroes that died in the snap your finger thing. Real quick, by the way, for anybody who didn't read the comic, we didn't want to really talk about it last week because the movie hadn't come out yet. But in the comic, he snaps his fingers in like the first issue. That whole thing. I mean, if you're going to look to the comic to say what's going to happen in these films going forward, to be honest with you, I don't think you can do it. Because I just reread Infinity Gauntlet, okay? He snaps his fingers in the first issue. The rest of the comic is him battling like Galactus and all these like gods. Like Jim Starlin was high off his ass when he wrote this. There's no question. I mean, he was tripping balls. I mean, he's fighting like time and space like that, and it all takes place literally on one planet. Mephisto is his right hand man. There is they've created their own thing. I feel like with this, with this film. So it's not like we can sit there and say, well, based on what happened in the comic, it's like no, based on what happened in the comic. Has already kind of happened.
said he only used it as a template. He didn't really use it as a.
No, I know, but I'm just saying in terms of like trying to be like, hey, let's prognosticate what happens. Doctor Strange is obviously the key. Mm-hmm. The one line, there was no other way.
Right.
He saw the one reality where they could win. Right. So obviously he doped up that time stone, or he did something. There was a reason he gave it to him. It wasn't to save Tony Stark,
right?
Though
I
it was
agree.
kind of a nice moment.
Yeah, it's odd because it served two purposes. It is a button to that earlier conversation, to that arc of I will not sacrifice to save you.
Yeah.
But it was also it had a even more of a purpose to it.
Yeah, there was no other way. I had to
hidden-
kill everybody in order to save them, which is funny if you think about it. Then why even act out the whole thing to begin with, though? If you could already see the future, or you could see the one path.
I think
could
he
win.
said that before he made the decision.
Yeah.
I think he said, "I'm not going to save you," and then he saw the vision, and he was like, "No, all right, no, I'll give you.
Yeah.
You're important to whatever's coming next."
Real quick,
Yeah.
where do you put this in the pantheon of Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Top
Top 3, top 5, top 10?
It's definitely top 3.
Okay.
It's still kind of behind Winter Soldier for me, but it's a great movie. It's just it just needs so much for it to work as a story. You know, you need 17 films to this, or 16 films to make the 17th one work. But it's a great film. It's well done.
Ask me again in a few months, but overreaction, I'd say it's top 2 for me. I don't know if it's the best or not.
That's another thing I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the afterglow.
Yeah.
Because, after a while, people are like, it was okay, and I'm waiting
We'll
for
talk
that
about
part.
it, but we won't talk about it next week. Next week, we are actually off. We've just been Infinity Ward out, and I'm going on vacation. So we're gonna
So more you going on vacation than we're Infinity Ward out.
We're going to be releasing a Deadpool 2 special. We're going to cobble together some of our best insight from Fabian Nicieza, put it together in a podcast, and we'll release that through iTunes. And then come back here on May 16th. I want to say May 16th. It's a Wednesday. Talk Radio NYC. We're going to have Buddy Scalera, who wrote Deadpool. We're going to go full on into Deadpool 2 mania.
Yeah, we're going to be whores for Deadpool after this.
When we come back. See you guys.